Head Coach Paul Colontino joining me on Women's Hockey Weekly. The Colonials coming off a nail-biter of a series with the 10th-ranked Colgate Raiders and continuing non-conference play this weekend as the Mavericks of Minnesota State will be coming to the RMU Island Sports Center. And I guess kind of the cliche thing to say about the Colgate series would be that it was a tale of two games, although more accurately, I guess, a tale of 1 1/3 games, as starting with the third period on Friday's game when the team really pulled together and rallied furiously. Just starting from that period and spilling on into Saturday, you guys really seem to do a heck of a job going toe-to-toe with a very tough opponent.
Yeah, no, you're right. You know, the third period, I think when our backs were really up against the wall and we had nothing to lose, you really started to see what players can do and maybe what this team can do. And being able to come out the next day and play that way for the entire game, I thought was a great step forward. And, you don't get the win, but we definitely had chances to win, that second day in the 2-2 tie. But it was right. You're right in the sense that, in that third period, we came out of our shell just a little bit more and we played a little bit looser with nothing to lose. And in truth, that's how you have to play. You have to play aggressive. You have to play, like you have nothing to lose and really go after it. And until you do that, you're just holding back.
Right.
And it was nice because, you at least, you suffer the loss on one night, but at least you feel like you're moving in the right direction with a strong third. And then to our players' credit, they continued the pace into the next day, and I thought that's where we saw a much better 65 minutes.
And looking at that Saturday game, how gratifying is it to get that tie the way the team got it, with Ariel playing well, the defense pulling together and holding a very high-scoring team to just 2 goals, with, the defense being as banged up as it's been?
Yeah, no, it's, again, I say it, we had chances to win it too, so... Right. You get the tie, and it's not a loss. So you're like, hey, it's a tie, and you're more. I know as a coach, you're more concerned about how you're playing at times, in the sense that, okay, are we doing the things right that we need to be? And you see our D. You're right. We're pretty banged up over the weekend. Running a short bench there, and for what they did, for literally 125 minutes was just absolutely incredible. They logged a lot of minutes, many of them on special teams, on 5-on-5. So holding the team like Colgate, you're right, to 2 goals in one game there was very impressive. And that was just, I think, a full body of work from our goaltender to our D and to our forwards with really taking care of assignments.
How encouraging was it to see the power play get going toward the end of that Friday game? Because I know you guys have
really
worked.
Encouraging.
Yeah, you guys have been working really hard on that, and I know Mankato has a good PK also, by the way.
Yeah. No, it's the truth is you go through waves sometimes,
right.
And sometimes it gets real hot, sometimes it gets cold, and then sometimes you hover right in the middle. And we've been fortunate. We feel like this year, where when we've needed big time power play shifts and goals, we've got them. So hopefully maybe it was a little cold, like you say, for a little bit, and we get through this past weekend with a number of nice power play goals. You just got to keep it moving in the right direction. Players just really need to realize, hey, what makes the unit successful, and really not trying to do anything, say, too different. Just knowing, hey, what's our bread and butter? What's my assignment? And then how do I do it the best that I can? Because I always say, you're a man up. Eventually, somebody's going to get open. And you have to be patient and walk a fine line between, giving teams time to set up on the PK and then just going after it. So I thought that's what we did a lot better, in the third, and the next day was we did a much better job of reading of just when to go after it on the power play. So we'll look to hopefully do that again this weekend. One
of the things I was asking the players about the last couple weeks, and I want to get your take on it, Is goaltending better just across the board in college hockey this year? Because I look up and down at the teams we've been playing, and there's a lot of really strong performing goaltenders, even for the teams that are struggling right now. And I wonder, is maybe that an added wrinkle into, how tough it can be at times to get those power play goals and to just get goals in general?
Absolutely, absolutely. We've ran into a few very, very good goalies that have had really good weekends or really good nights. So you think back to the RPI series,
Sure.
A number of shots, and she just played great, and she's continuing to play great for her team. I think when you look across the board, NCAA wise, I do think that is a pretty solid trend, in the sense the goaltending just seems to get stronger and stronger every single year, all the way across the board. So if you can't beat a team sometimes, with sheer goals and numbers, sometimes you're coming out with a win through just, sheer goaltending. So, we've faced some good goaltenders. I know we'll face a good one this weekend. It's going to have to be another time where we get creative and find different ways to score, and make sure that we're using all the tools in our toolbox, from deflections to walking out of the corners to special teams, odd man rushes. We just want to be ready for all those, because you're going to have a good goalie. You're going to have a good defensive team in front of you. We got to find ways to score and take what's given.
And lastly, looking at Minnesota State, and again, it's a Friday 6:05 start against the Mavericks, Saturday at 1:05. Again, free game on Saturday, so make sure you especially come out to Colonials Arena for that one. What do we know about Minnesota State, aside from the fact that, kind of like you touched on, their WCHA team, they have the good penalty kill, and just everybody from that conference on some level is good, at the risk of sounding trite?
They're a solid team. They're very well coached. They have really good systems. They play consistent hockey. Like we said, they get good goaltending. They know how to play defensively. It can make teams' lives very, very difficult. Trying to, not to say, get inside, but they play tight defensively, and they're used to playing some very talented offensive teams on a consistent basis. So when you do that, you get better defensively, you give up a little bit less. So with that, we kind of know in a sense what's coming at us there, and we just want to be ready and make sure that we're taking care of business when we do get opportunities, because a lot like us, we're trying not to give up too many offensive opportunities, and when a team gets one, we look for great goaltending. So not too much different than Mankato. So should be a good series. You got two pretty closely matched teams.
And again, the men are off, the Penguins are on the road. We have your hockey fix right here. RMU Island Sports Center, Robert Morris, Minnesota State. Once again, those game times: Friday, 6:05 p.m., Saturday, 1:05 p.m., and of course, Saturday is the free game here at Colonials Arena. Head coach Paul Colontino. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Matt.